Listen, yeah, you fucking frog-eating bastards. Please, sir, could you not do it, sir? Please, I don't want to be heel kick, sir. Please don't do it, you know. Do you think that the UFC is trying to make their next Brazilian star with Prates? Think about it. If he sleeps Gary, then sleeps Bilal, he'll be a hero. Very true. Yeah, they are trying to make a star out of anyone who achieves some level of popularity. You're acting like you're onto a conspiracy theory that they might try and make a star if he sleeps Ian Gary and then sleeps Bilal Muhammad for a championship. They're not trying to make him a star. That's just how it works. You know what I mean? You're not onto something there, brother. You're not rumbling the secret societies of the UFC. They want to make stars, yes. And if he does sleep a bunch of people on his way to the top, it's not them secretly making him a star. I know what you mean, though. They're definitely going to rally behind him, but this whole fighting nerds movement is definitely going to get a push. But not think about it. You know? Like, obviously, yeah, he would be a huge name for sure, Derek. Sing the Spanish song. Compa, ¿qué le parece esa morra? La cuenta pelando sola, amigos da pa' mí. Bella, y le sabe questa buena. I know it's unlikely, but I feel like Sean is going to KO Merab. I could see it. For a sniper like him to be given another 25 minutes to KO Merab means something. It does, man. I might go for that. Let's go for that. I appreciate the $5, brother. I could see him beating Merab in the rematch. I really, really could. He did really well in hindsight compared to others against Merab. I'm kind of glad that he didn't announce too much. Don't you agree? Got punished for giving you money? It's only a little timeout for 5 minutes. You'll be alright. It's already 4 minutes left. You know what I mean? Just no donations. People pay to talk in here. People pay for this in general, so there's no... If people still donated in here, that would just ruin the point of the members stream. Why? Oh, why is it good that you didn't announce it all at once? Because it spaces out the talk, the dialogue of the sport. We've got Emmett versus Murphy this weekend. You know? These fights being announced, although they're not the best fights, Ian Gary, Carlos Prates is a good fight. And I think this is really good, you know? I think this is really good. You know, because he announces these this week. We get this news. And then we get the Tapurian news. And then we get a John... You know, if it all gets announced at once, I make one video on it and then that's it. You know? And maybe it's just a content creator's perspective on the sport. But sometimes you need news like this. Just some mini news to tie you over until the next, you know, shitty fight night card. So I don't mind it being spaced out because this is something that we'll be talking about for the next few days. Bro's trying to make bread. It's not even make bread. It's just keeping your interest in the sport, keeping there things to talk about. There's nothing worse on this channel, especially with the live streams when there's just been a few weeks of nothing big happening. And eventually I don't even want to fucking stream anymore. Dude, I actually think the Tim Welch podcast is going to be pretty good that I did. I was actually kind of snapping at him a bit on the pod. I've got a backbone now, chat. He was, I don't want to ruin it though, but he was being unprofessional and not respecting me as a guest. And I had to fucking lay down the law a few times. It was an interesting interview. I like Tim Welch, but God, man, I had to fucking get on him about a few unprofessional moments, like the MMA Guru ain't on his show right now, you know? You know what Tim Welch gave me a little bit of a lead on, though, when it comes to the Bryce Mitchell-Gene Silva fight? He said he witnessed a training session of Gene Silva where he got ragdolled and thrown around on the ground in the grappling. And he doesn't know who the guy who did it to him was, or the guys that did it to him was. But he said he saw he watched a training session with Gene Silva once, and he saw Gene get, like, manhandled by someone his size in the grappling, so I don't know. He just let it slip. I don't think he knew I was fully pulling for Bryce Mitchell and shit, but he did say that. He said he's really good, and, you know, he's got a sick style, and his knockouts are great, but he did sit on a training session once and see him getting, like, taken down a ton. In the training session that he watched. But obviously it could be like a pure wrestler. Could have been a really good wrestling guy that was just doing wrestling with him. You never know. Hey Guru, Wilder versus Fury 1 had a similar build-up to Bryce versus Silva. Wilder talked about being possessed by ancestral spirits. Fury was proudly Christian. Fury rose from the dead in that fight. He did, to be fair. Yeah, interview AJ Cunningham, why not? Don't ask about his dad, though. Apparently there's some story there. He's never been to space. Oh, that's what they took from it? Via MMA Guru. That's the only quote they took from the entire Bryce Mitchell interview. Space doesn't exist. Elon's never been to space. Space doesn't exist. That's the only thing they could possibly quote from it. Just hate mongering Bryce, dude. Absolute satanic company, dude. Fuck McGregor. I hope he never gets a chance to run for Ireland. No wonder Irish people fucking hate him. Fuck him, dude. Fuck that whole fucking thing. That's the only thing they took from that entire interview. That's fucking lamest shit they possibly could have took. You think people like Bryce in charge? I think it'd be better if we had people like Bryce in charge than the people that are currently in charge of these countries. We got kids that don't know what gender they are trying to chop off their private parts, encouraged by their parents to do so. But people that think like Bryce are the problem. That's what I don't understand about people that just shun Bryce massively. It's kind of insane. Shoving dicks up their arse, like parading about it in front of children, people dressing up in drag in front of kids. But Bryce's opinions are the problem in society and he should never be able to be in charge. Y'all got your priorities off. Way off. Way, way off. Got people stabbing each other to death in the streets. You know what I mean? Shooting each other in American inner cities. Are people like Bryce being in charge is the problem because what? Space ain't real to him? I'll take a guy who believes space ain't real over a lot of the opinions of the current people in charge of Western countries, brother. Jailton Almeida versus Volkov in the works for UFC Fight Night Atlanta in June. How is that? So what is Cyril Gane then, man? I hate that Cyril Gane gets such a free ride in the division. Cut him from the fucking sport, the fucking French coward. Thank you for the fight. It just proves that it's in the air in France. It's not a fucking historical thing. It's just if you're in the air, if you're in the French area, you're a bitch.
Whoa, 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 whoa. Calm down, bro. What the fuck?
It seems like, dude. So what the fuck is Cyril Gane doing then? Who's he going to fight? Pavlovich, maybe? That's a good fight. Maybe it's Pavlovich. Mike Harrington confirmed versus Juliana Pena. True. Thank you for the 6 months of membership. He's not French. He is. That's the new French. Cope with it. Thank you for the 6 months of membership. He's not French. A majority of French people right now. Gane should go to PFL. Okay. What the fuck do you see at heavyweight, honestly? What the fuck do I see at heavyweight? I don't see anything at heavyweight right now. There's hype, but I guess they're going to do Gane versus Pavlovich. Sergey Pavlovich, he's a great fighter. I'd love to fight him. Rip France, indeed. Gane versus Jones 2. Book it. Okay. Okay. No. Never. I had a big chuckle when you stuck in those little guys in the crowd. I was sneaking stuff in on the Bryce interview for sure. You seem to really support what he believed in, yet I've seen you get at him for being stupid, etc. Have you had a change of heart or new info? Dude, I don't need to condemn Bryce Mitchell for... There are things to condemn people for. If Bryce Mitchell wants to believe that the world is flat because in the Bible it says so, I'm not going to fucking condemn him for that. You know what I mean? I can disagree with Bryce. I can find things that he says dumb. But if he's on my show, I'm not bringing Bryce on a show to trash him and expose him and play moral high ground over him because I think something different to him. And I think that one of his points is dumb. That's why I brought Bryce Mitchell on my fucking interview. So I'm going to let Bryce Mitchell be Bryce Mitchell on my interview. That's how it works. You know what I mean? I didn't bring Bryce Mitchell on an interview to prove how smart I am by disproving things that he said. I'd be dead. Let Bryce do his thing. That's why he's on. That's why I didn't want Bryce to be fucking... I didn't want to argue with Bryce the entire time. Just bring Bryce on and let him be Bryce Mitchell, and that's what made for a fun podcast. Chat retarded. Yeah, chat cried. Chat just doesn't like any sort of relationship between me and a fighter because they want the content to be worst. That's all they do. Whenever I get too close to a fighter, they do their best to donate and create a rift. Let me go down the Bryce storyline. This is great stuff. I'm going to enjoy this. You will enjoy this. This is great. Fishing with Bryce in America? No, you just turn into a yes man. Oh, yes man, yes man. No. I'm not bringing Bryce Mitchell on my pod to refute him because the Bible says that, but that's actually not right, Bryce. That just make me some fucking Karen on a fucking podcast. Jesus Christ. Chat is the gayest bunch a lot of the time. Fucking hell. Canadians. Bryce was probably your best interview so far, to be fair. And I had little to do with it. You know what I mean? Other than just accepting that he was able to ramble. Dude, I hated chat earlier that... I swear to God, man, they just tear it down if I get this sort of good thing going. They try and cause a rift with it. This is why I'm never going to discuss the dating aspect of anything. It's mad, man. It was just the whole chat, the public chat earlier, dude. They were tearing the idea of my allegiance with Bryce down. And I'm like, dude, let me go with this. This is so good. You know? And I don't care that he's saying different things. What was Jack saying? Well, why didn't you stand up to him when he said this? It was wrong. Like, dude, he's quoting the Bible on a lot of things. Like, come on. You know? I'm not going to stand there and just fucking be a bear or an Ariel Hawani. Like, they're actual Redditors. A lot of the non-members are Redditors, I feel like. I don't know. Listen to your Bryce Mitchell interview while I was driving today. Amazing work. No problem. I just let him do his thing. I think that's what you got to do with Bryce Mitchell interviews. You just got to let him do his thing. He's been sending me Bible verses on Instagram. You know, he's a good dude, Bryce. He means well. He was ready to go. I bet you anything he was amped up. Amped up, ready to go for that interview. You know? Because I was like a few minutes late to actually interviewing him, and he had a training session afterwards. And I bet you he was waiting there, like, I can't wait to say what I've got to say on this, you know. I've read like the first 20 pages of the Bible. I'm going to read a bunch of the religious books. I think you owe it to humanity to at least give them a read at some point. So I'm probably going to read the Bible, the Quran, and Mein Kampf. Bryce via Boston Crab. Yes. You can read it online for free. Yeah, but it's something about having it in your possession it means something. You know what I mean? Canadians are the most soy nation. No walls that no fuck all. Yeah. True. Thank you for the $8 Australian. Fuck Canada. There are some of them that are still there that are based, but that place is long gone, bruh. Without hope. Not had a single competitive combat sports person since GSP. What a fucking fall off. How do you have GSP and then years later, a decade later, you don't have guys in every division? What a bitch ass fucking place that is. Straight up. The UK had Bisping, for fuck's sake. Bisping, and now we've got Pimlet, Arnold Allen, Tom Aspinall. You know what I mean? Edwards even. Like, Canada has GSP, and a decade later, they got fuck all in combat sports. Like, how? How is that? Rory McDonald, he was of the right after the era. He literally trained with GSP. I'm talking about the next wave. Sing the Spanish song. Mike Mallet literally got fraud checked by Neil Magny. Don't want to hear it. Le Guru de MMA has got it up, but it's got no views in 13 minutes, so he's not really one of the big dogs, you know?